Good evening, Phoenix. Are you ready for some roller derby action? I said, are you ready for some roller derby action? I said, are you ready for some roller derby action? Good evening, I'm Old Greg. Welcome to the Hall of Dames. The Arizona Derby Dames are the only league offering you fast-paced bank track roller derby in Arizona.
And I'm Kills Bill. These teams are geared up and ready to go. The first game tonight is a tough match between your Bombshells and these deadly babes, the Coffin Draggers. Game 2 is another fierce battle featuring our juniors, the Minor Assaults. Some ground rules before we get started. Please, no whistling as it interrupts the game. Keep in mind when in line for the bathroom, the skaters take priority. They've got to get back to the track. For the safety of our skaters and for yourself, please keep your body parts on the outside of the track. With that being said, let's get rolling.
All right, looks like our regulators are lining the teams up to perform safety checks, making sure helmets are buckled, pads are in place, etc., what have you. That gives us a chance to introduce to you the team we could literally not do this without because it would devolve into complete anarchy. It's the regulators. Tonight, at head referee for the first bout, Ref Boy RD.
Game executioner, Freya Hugs.
Jam referee, Stabitha Christie.
Front pack referee, Infidel Castro.
Backpack referee, Bender B. Rodriguez.
Outside pack referee, Lucifer.
Outside pack referee, Transylvania.
Penalty tracker assist, Velociraptor.
Penalty box admin, Optical Delusion.
Penalty box admin, June Cleavage.
At whiteboard, Linja Star.
Eye in the sky, Meryl Streak.
Eye in the sky, Crash.
Scoreboard is Retromancer.
And on runner is Trigger Me.
At jam referee, your regulators co-captain, Hoover Slam.
And your captain of the regulators as penalty tracker, Lollipop.
Show some love for your regulators. It might be the only love they get all night.
Hi, are you announcing or am I? You can announce. I'm on the left. I'm on the door.
For the minors. For the minors. You're here for the minors. Dude, I tagged you on Facebook, Bill. Why don't you?
I did. I
You
looked.
my friend.
He said he just looked at it.
I just looked at it. No, thank you. I am FO.
But I thank you because I was in the office talking to
I know,
Nikki,
I know,
and then I
I'm
was like,
like-
oh no, we're starting.
Well, that's what I said. I'm like, well, I'm going to sit here and do this until she gets here.
I'd like to direct your attention to our screens. We're going to go ahead and play the Tryouts video. We recently had tryouts, and we're welcoming in a new crop of fresh meat that will begin their journey tomorrow.
All right, Derby fans, who's ready to get this show underway, huh? All right. First up for introduction, it is your Bombshells. Skating tonight for the Bombshells, number 6, Anakin Shit-Talker. Number 817, Bitch Please. Number 750, Bodily Harm. Number 44, Magnum, Dirty Carry. Number 24K, Gold Digger. Number 60, Gwen Coco. Number 182, Hannibal Lecture. Number 279, Happy Kilmore. Number 42, Irish Car Bomb. Number 1931, Mickey Mental. Number 626, Remy Ruckus. Number 921, Shakin' Amy Syndrome. Number 1022, Skate Up G. And number 55, your captain of the Bombshells, Skid Vicious. Helping the team on the bench tonight, our bench coaches, Impaler Swift and Rowdy Roulette. Penalty manager, Mimi Mahler. Not skating tonight, number 2-22, Scarlet Knockout. And number 22, your co-captain, Impaler Swift.
And now, taking the track, introducing the Coffin Draggers. Skating tonight for the Draggers, number 1312, Bones. Number 616, Craven Cadavers. Number 101, Devil's Advocate. Number 1951, Hellatrix Lestrange. Number 7780, Moxie Mausoleum. Number 7, The Destroyer. Number 217, Vava Doom. Number 1890, Victoria Van Gore. Number 666, Witchy Woman. Number 1029, Reckless Rose. 23, Tyranny. Number 30, Zora la Bruja. Number 7656, and your co-captain, Zombaby. And number 803, your captain, the Panda Face Killer. Helping the team on their bench tonight, our bench coach, Ridiculous. Penalty manager, Grantula. Not skating tonight, number 651, Grace Ventura. And number 27, Laura Stabs.
Derby fans, please rise for the national anthem. Tonight's national anthem singer is Hayden Grimm. Hayden Grimm is a sophomore at a local performing arts high school. Between singing, acting, playing soccer, and tripping over nothing, she is simultaneously full of grace and is a glorious pain in the ass. I just read what I'm provided, folks. She's recently begun her adventures in roller derby and has adopted the moniker Grim and Barrett.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Waiting on that first whistle to start your first bout of the night, the Bombshells against the Coffin Draggers.
All right, lining up for the first jam of the evening. It's the Destroyer on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers.
And bitch, please, for your Bombshells. Bitch Please greeted by a 2 defensive wall on the back end here. Meanwhile, the Destroyer trying to get past that last blocker here on the front side. And the Destroyer is out. She'll be your lead jammer for this jam. Destroyer approaching for a first scoring pass. And she's out.
Bitch Please still in the pack, now trying to get past, but bumped out by that pivot for the Coffin Draggers. And back to the back of the pack she goes again as the Destroyer now on another scoring attempt.
Destroyer trying to pick up those last few points and then calling off that jam. I think time ran out actually, right, as she was calling it as well. The Destroyer picking up 9 points for your Coffin Draggers. 3 people are excited in the audience for those 9 points.
Up under the jammer line now for the Coffin Draggers is going to be Victoria Van Gore.
And Anakin Shit-Talker for your Bombshells. It looks like we have a double jammer down. But first, an official timeout.
All right. We would like to remind you about the Arizona Derby Dames merchandise booth. Be sure to visit the Derby Dames merch booth to get your favorite league and team merchandise. T-shirts, tanks, hats, koozies, stickers, buttons, oh my. Head on over and pick up some swag for your favorite team or for the Hot Shots before the Hot Shot season gets underway.
All right, now that we've got that situated, 3-on-2 in that blocker box with the Bombshells having the advantage. Skate up G, taking that jammer line for your Bombshells. Victoria Van Gore for the Draggers, and G is out. G's gonna be that lead jammer, but not before Victoria Van Gore also breaks out of that pack, half a track behind them.
Van Gore is flying down the track, trying to catch up now. G trying to find an opening, but the Coffin Draggers able to play keep away and got to the front of the pack. So after all that excitement, 0-0 on both sides, and we'll reset for the next jam.
Dirty Carry taking that jammer line for the Bombshells.
And that's Bones on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers.
Both jammers approaching that pack.
Pack making their way down the back straightaway. Both jammers still looking for an opening. Bones at the front of the pack dealing with some defenders for the Bombshells who are out of play, and Bones able to shake loose. Lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Carey still in the pack. Devil's Advocate doing a great job of delivering her to the infield. Meanwhile, Bones approaching for a first scoring pass. Oh my goodness. Got a little bit of a spill here by the jammer line. Hellatrix Lestrange taking that jammer line for the Draggers.
And it's Anakin Shit-Talker for the Bombshells. 5 points for the Coffin Draggers on the board in the previous jam.
Looks like 2 Bombshell blockers are going to be sitting in the penalty box, so they're going to be skating light. As Hellatrix Lestrange breaks free from the pack and has become the lead jammer for this jam. Anakin half a track behind them. Hellatrix Lestrange collecting their points and calling the jam, maybe?
So points for both sides there. 4 points for the Coffin Draggers, 3 points for the Bombshells, getting on the board there at the back end with Anakin flying in late. But we do now have a power jam for the Bombshells. It's our first power jam of the evening, and the Bombshells are going to send Skidfishes to the jammer line. Bombshells are going to look to cut into that early Coffin Draggers lead here. And the jam is underway. Bombshells only have 2 blockers out there to help Skidfishes. And Skidfishes able to get past a final block from that pivot for the Coffin Draggers and is out and clear.
Skidfishes approaching for a first scoring pass. Draggers doing a great job of splitting the pack and staying in the front. Witchy Woman, Devil's Advocate, and Craven doing a great job of keeping that jammer behind them. There's 18 seconds left on this clock of this power jam. Skidfishes breaking through that pack, but there's only 3 seconds left. Not enough time for another scoring pass. Picking up 5 points for the Bombshells. You know, if the audience cheers, maybe like we'll watch some cool roller derby. Okay, there's like 10 people that heard me. Maybe if we cheer for them, we'll watch more cool roller derby. Thank you.
Skate up G on the jammer line for those Bombshells, and it's going to be Victoria Van Gore starting as the jammer, but we do have a star pass, and taking over as jammer for the Bombshells is going to be number 23, Tyranny.
For the Draggers, for the Draggers.
Bombshells, I'm sorry.
All good, all good. Skate up G still.
No. Tyranny able to finish off a scoring pass for the Draggers. Trying to get clear. Skate up G was nearly clear. Taken down to the infield by Victoria Van Gore. "15 seconds left on the jam clock. Tyranny now coming around for a second scoring pass. And skates by along the inside.
Not enough time for another scoring pass. "15 points for the Draggers. The Destroyer taking the jammer line for your Draggers.
Bombshells jammer is going to be Dirty Carry.
3-on-2 in that blocker box with Bombshells the advantage. Looks like a couple of Draggers picked up some penalties in that last jam. They're going to be sitting in the penalty box.
And the Destroyer up around the outside and is out lead jammer for the Draggers. Shaking loose as well for the Bombshells is Dirty Carry, trying to put the pressure on. The Destroyer back to the pack, looking for an opening, bumped off to the infield, and taking around on the outside and taking over his lead jammer is going to be Dirty Carry, trying to finish a scoring pass, but routed off to the infield by Devil's Advocate. The Destroyer skating through the pack, finishing the scoring pass, taking back over his lead jammer and calling off the jam.
We're seeing a lot of one-on-one defense out there, which is pretty great. Looking at Strange take that jammer line for the Draggers.
And it'll be Anakin Shit-Talker for the Bombshells. Both teams picking up 4 points there in that previous jam, so both teams finishing off a full scoring pass.
Strange out of the pack there in turn one, able to deflect those hits coming from both directions. Anakin Shit-Talker behind that Dragger defensive wall. Strange attempting to take the low, but it ends up on the infield as they break through that pack. 30 seconds still on the clock. Calling that jam off. on to the next. We've got Dirty Carry taking that jammer line for your Bombshells.
Jammer for the Coffin Draggers is going to be Bones. 5 minutes, 55 seconds to go in the first quarter. 42-12, Coffin Draggers out to the early lead. And from the infield, Bones is going to be called down. Black is down a jammer, so the Coffin Draggers, late penalty assessed to their jammer, now up on the board. So it's going to be a quick power jam for the Bombshells. Dirty Carry is going to look to do some damage for the Bombshells here with 5.5 to go before the end of the first quarter.
Dirty Carry trying to juke up and down the track to get through some of that defense. Bombshells trying to split the pack here on the back end, but the pack's very close.
Halfway through the power jam, the Coffin Draggers defense still strong.
Got 10 seconds left on the clock. Carey's still not out of this pack during this Bombshells power jam. Now some tough defense brought by the Coffin Draggers.
Excellent.
0 points for the Bombshells.
Excellent defensive effort by the Coffin Draggers there. And we are going to have, before we get to the next jam, a stoppage in play. That's going to be team timeout by the Bombshells. So the Bombshells take their first time out of the bout and are going to take a break in the action. It's 4:22 to go here in the first quarter. And again, the score, 42-12. Coffin Draggers in front right now. We've got count 'em, three food options outside for you this evening. That is right. We have, as always, Off the Hook Taco Truck, one of our longtime food sponsors of the, well, I mean, they're a sponsor, but they also give food. So they're a food sponsor. I'll call it that. That's a phrase. Off the Hook Taco Truck is a locally owned and operated taco truck serving SoCal and Baja-inspired cuisine. They have chicken and vegetarian options available as well, including the always popular lobster bacon chorizo fries. Visit them outside if you're hungry for something delicious. Also outside tonight, we have the Cool Spot truck. They are serving acai bowls and delicious smoothies, all sorts of wonderful sweet and healthful and thoughtful treats for you from the Cool Spot truck. And as an added bonus, Junkies Coffee joining us tonight with their mobile coffee cart by a husband and wife team serving specialty espresso beverages and coffee shop favorites. And I did see they have a frozen peach lemonade tonight. That sounds tasty. So again, all sorts of wonderful food options for you outside throughout the evening.
Back to the game. Victoria Van Gore jamming for your Draggers. Anakin Shit-Talker for the Bombshells. Gore is out of the pack in turn 1. She's your lead jammer for this jam. Anakin Shit-Talker trying to get past Dragger defensive wall and blocker Tyranny, but Tyranny greets her to the infield with a hip check. Meanwhile, Gore scooping up points for the Draggers.
Gore now threading her way through the pack, finishing off a scoring pass. Anakin now gets around the last defender and shakes clear. And is going to try to get around here to put an end to Gore's scoring passes. Gore able to get by dodging a block and skates through, calls off the rest of the jam. On the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers is going to be Bones.
On the jammer line for your Bombshells, Skid Vicious. Looks like 3-on-3 in the blocker box. Each team down one blocker since they picked up some penalties in that last jam.
And another timeout will be called here, an official timeout. Going to take a brief second here to check over, saw them checking over some of the penalties on the board. So An official timeout is going to take us away from the action momentarily. Don't forget, Paz Cantina is the official after-party spot of the Arizona Derby Dames. Come join us after tonight's bout for live music, games, food, and drinks. Present your wristband for a 20% discount on your tab. It's Paz Cantina, located on 3rd Street in Roosevelt. Head over to Hang, Eat, and Drink with the Dames. It looks like we got everything sorted out, and we'll get back to the action here momentarily.
And I got a jam reset on that. Skid Vicious taking the jammer line for your Bombshells.
Bones for the Coffin Draggers.
Skid Vicious greeted by a 3 defensive wall of blockers. Bones also greeted by a 3 defensive wall of blockers from the other team. Skid Vicious is out, and I see a star pass. Devil's Advocate will now be the acting jammer for the Draggers.
And Devil's Advocate closing the gap quickly. Skid Vicious calling it off as the pack was getting up to speed and getting away. So Skid Vicious calling it off. On to the jammer line now for the Coffin Draggers is Tyranny.
For your Bombshells, skate up G. 3-on-3 in that blocker box again, because we had one blocker from each side committing a penalty during that last jam. Out comes Tyranny in turn 1. Tyranny able to get out there on the low side undetected.
Skate up G out of the pack as well for the Bombshells. Tyranny is trying to get back to the pack here to see if she can pick up some more points. Able to get by that first blocker, so picks up the blocker point and the ghost point.
Dirty Carry taking the jammer line for the Bombshells.
It'll be the Destroyer on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers. 7 points up on the board for the Coffin Draggers in that previous jam.
The Destroyer able to run right out on that high side. She'll be your lead jammer for this jam. Dirty Carry still trying to get past Draggers' defense. Meanwhile, the Destroyer attempting to collect some points for the Draggers.
And the Destroyer finishing off a scoring pass. 20 seconds left on the jam clock.
Still some time for some more points.
And Dez gets through the pack and calls off the remainder of the clock. Leaving time on the clock for one more jam. It's a double jammer down situation, so penalties called on both jammers in the previous jam. I see on the whiteboard of pain. So we've got Victoria Van Gore on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers and
Anakin Shit-Talker for the Bombshells.
couple of blockers called down for both sides.
Very light pack.
Very light pack. Just 2 blockers for each side out there. Victoria Van Gore, jammers colliding right off the jammer line, and now both of them trying to find their way through the pack. Victoria Van Gore first and able to get through. At pivot for the Coffin Draggers, able to run up into the outside there. That was Tyranny, who was able to put forth a very solid individual defensive effort there and knock Anakin up into the rail. Jam is called off by Gore as she finishes off her scoring pass, and that'll do it for the first quarter. So the first quarter comes to a close. We'll take a quick check of the score right now. It's going to be 4 points on the board for the Coffin Draggers. Your score right now, Coffin Draggers 77, Bombshells 12.
All right, we're going to go ahead and queue up our raffle screen. Take out your orange raffle tickets. Your prizes are located over here at the raffle table that is right beside the announcer's booth. You get to pick your own, with the exception of our Last Dutchman Tattoo gift certificate. That'll be called at the end of the night. Ticket number 785413. Ticket number 785413.
Who wants some free stuff? Coming on around the track right now. I see Morning Madness down there at the very front of the back straightaway, coming down and offering some fans there, and then down along the front straightaway here, that was Taylor Terror tossing a shirt to the crowd. Don't forget, fans, if you are here to check out the Coffin Draggers and Bombshells, we've got a second bout tonight. Stick around for more great derby action once this first bout is over. Our minor assaults are playing tonight. A split squad match, blue versus white, and that'll be coming up right after the end of the Coffin Draggers and Bombshells. So stick around and support Young Roller Derby.
So that last ticket was like a no-show. So let's take out our orange tickets again. All right. Ticket number 785512. It might be the same person.
It's off by one number. 413.
Oh, never mind. 785512. Anybody? Come on down to the raffle table.
We will return to the action. Top of the second quarter, Coffin Draggers 77, Bombshells 12. Up to the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers is Bones.
Bitch Please for the Bombshells. Bitch Please playing some one-on-one jammer defense, but Bitch is out. She's out on that low side, breaking up before turn one. Bones trying to get past those last blockers, and she's out too. We could probably cheer louder for them. Maybe.
Bitch Please up to the high side, runs into a defensive wall and calls off the rest of the jam. 1 point on the board for the Bombshells to get the second quarter started. Victoria Van Gore to the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers.
Skate up G for your Bombshells. I was actually just notified that our 50-50 raffle is up to $200. Not a bad way to start the night. Continue buying those 50-50 raffle tickets. It'll help our minor assaults. That's our junior athletes get to our National Bank Track tournament in Philadelphia this summer.
Victoria Van Gore out of the pack and is the lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers here. Skate up G trying to find an opening, running into defenders at the front of the pack. Now able to shake loose is Skate up G. Victoria Van Gore ahead and going to try to finish off another scoring pass before calling things off. Up to the jammer line for the Bombshells is going to be Skid Vicious. And the Destroyer is up to the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers. Both jammers out at roughly the same time. Destroyer out slightly ahead and calls it off. I was watching the action unfold and just getting ready to update you, and then the action stopped. Oh well.
Strange taking the jammer line for the Draggers.
And Anakin for the Bombshells. And we're going to have a power jam for the Bombshells. There's penalty assessed there to the Destroyer. So the Destroyer in the penalty box along with another blocker for the Coffin Draggers. And there goes Anakin racing through the pack to get out, and now is an active scorer. Bombshells now are going to try to put a power jam offense into play and try to keep that last defender held back to control the pace of play. Anakin looking for an opening now and able to raced up into the rail several times there. Panda Face Killer and Tyranny are on the defensive play along with Zora La Bruja for the Coffin Draggers. 15 seconds left in the power jam.
Anakin Shit-Talker able to procure a few more points. Time is out though, and that's the jam. Great fight by the Bombshells. Picking up 5 points for your Bombshells.
We're going to have Bones on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers.
Bitch Please for your Bombshells. Both jammers trying to break past that last one or two defensive blocker. Ultimately, Bitch Please breaks out. She's your lead jammer for this jam.
Collision at the front end of the pack there, and emerging out the front end of the pack is Bones for the Coffin Draggers. Bitch Please now trying to finish off a scoring pass, run up against a defensive wall, and calls it off.
Victoria Van Gore taking the jammer line for your Draggers.
It'll be Skate Up G for the Bombshells.
I see a star pass, and out goes Tyranny. Tyranny will now be your active jammer for the Draggers. Skate Up G able to break out on that high side. Meanwhile, Tyranny approaching for a reverse scoring pass.
And Tyranny calls it off from the front of the pack. 4 points on the board for Tyranny and the Coffin Draggers. It's going to be the Destroyer to the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers.
Skid Vicious for the Bombshells. All right, 4-on-4 in that blocker box. Skid Vicious trying to break past there on the front end, but out goes Devil's Advocate. Another star pass by your Coffin Draggers. With Skid Vicious half a track behind her. Devil's Advocate coming up on our first scoring pass. Able to scoop up those points and call that jam off before Skid's able to pick up any points. Helatrix Lestrange taking the jammer line for your Coffin Draggers.
Jamming for the Bombshells, Skate Up G.
4-on-3 in that blocker box with the Dragger advantage. There's the whistle for the jam. Helatrix Lestrange able to run right through that pack. Oh, that was an unfortunate fall, but it's okay. They're right back up. Skate Up G still behind that Dragger defense as Strange approaches for their first scoring pass. Out they go on that high side, untouched. Great call by Strange, able to read her teammates. Meanwhile, G is still fighting to break past those Dragger blockers. Wow. 18 seconds still on the clock. Strange has enough time for more points. Strange finds an opening and calls the jam with only a couple seconds left. "14 points picked up by Helatrix Lestrange." That was a wonderful jam.
Coffin Draggers up over 100 points for the bout here. They're up to 105. Devil's Advocate to the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers. And Bitch Please for the Bombshells. Devil's Advocate was escorted off onto the infield, and Bitch Please quickly to the front of the pack. Those blockers were already out of play, and Bitch Please is your lead jammer for the Bombshells. Devil's Advocate fighting her way through up to the high side, then down to the low to get clear of the pack.
All right, Skate Up G on that jammer line for the Bombshells. However, a couple of their blockers picked up penalties during the last jam, so they're going to be down 2, rendering only 2 blockers for this set with the Dragger advantage of 4 blockers. Victoria Van Gore taking the jammer line for the Draggers.
Jam is underway. Victoria Van Gore slightly skating sideways to get in Skate Up G's way and kind of just neatly steered Skate Up G into a pocket of Coffin Draggers. Excellent offensive strategy from the outside there by Victoria Van Gore and the Coffin Draggers. Victoria Van Gore finishing off a scoring pass. Victoria Van Gore finishing her second scoring pass and will be coming around for a third now. Skate Up G still pinned in behind those blockers at the back of the pack. Victoria Van Gore finishes off her fourth scoring pass and then calls off the jam.
They destroy her, taking the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers.
Dirty carry for the Bombshells. Victoria Van Gore putting 20 points on the board for the Coffin Draggers.
Wow. A few people are excited. I'm excited. That was a lot of points, yo. All right. The Destroyer greeted by some Bombshell defense there on that rail. Both jammers still attempting to break out of this pack. And out goes the Destroyer in turn 3.
Dirty
carry breaking out of that pack as well in turn 1.
Destroyer now trying to bully right through the middle of the pack. The defense able to tighten up there, waiting for Dirty Carry to come down the front straightaway, so the Destroyer calls it off. 3 points up on the board for the Coffin Draggers. Up to the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers, Hellatrix Lestrange. And it's Anakin Shit Talker for the Bombshells.
Hold up. Strange needs to put her star on, or their star on. All right. Strange towards the front of the pack and Anakin in the back of the pack. Both jammers attempting to break free. Strange is able to push those blockers way out of play. Get back on that track and go. They are going to be the lead jammer for this jam.
Anakin pinned in behind another solid pocket of Coffin Draggers defenders. And Strange finishing off a scoring pass and calling it off. 5 points on the board for the Coffin Draggers. 2.5 minutes to halftime. Up to the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers is Bones.
For your Bombshells, bitch, please. Looks like a couple of blockers picked up some penalties in that last jam on the Bombshell side. They'll only be rendering 2 blockers. 4 blockers for your Draggers. Both jammers waiting patiently. Bitch, please, trying to play some defense on that jammer to help her teammates out. Skid Vicious is not letting Bones out. Both jammers still in the pack as we approach almost an entire lap with neither jammer out. Bones breaks free.
Bones out of the pack for the Draggers. Defense still holding strong back in the pack for the Draggers as well.
Bones able to avoid that hit from Skid on the low end, on the low side. With 3 seconds left on the clock, it may not be enough time to pick up any more points.
Looks like we're setting up for a power jam for the Coffin Draggers. Indeed, it's going to be Devil's Advocate Setting up on the jammer line for what is going to be our last jam of the first half as we get ready to head into the halftime break. So Devil's Advocate to the jammer line. Penalty assessed to Bitch Please in the previous jam, so she is in the penalty box. And Devil's Advocate able to get those blockers pushed out of play and is out and clear of the pack. Devil's Advocate into the pack, runs into a blocker and routed off onto the infield. Able to shake clear and gets around on the inside with 20 seconds to go in the power jam. Devil's Advocate now trying to come around for another jam. And Devil's Advocate able to jump sideways and get past the blockers that were trying to impede her way as the clock expires on the Coffin Draggers Power Jam and on the second half, or excuse me, on the second quarter as a whole. 10 points up on the board for the Coffin Draggers there in that previous jam. Score heading into halftime, Coffin Draggers 148, Bombshells 22.
While the teams switch benches, we actually have something special for you tonight. We would like to call your attention to a special guest sharing her day with us tonight. Mary Dale Loomis Fairbanks was born in Omaha, Nebraska on February 8, 1922. She moved to California when she was about 13. She, Betty White, and many other celebrity kids of that era went to school at Beverly Hills High School, yes, 90210 Beverly Hills. After graduating from Mills College in 1943 in the middle of World War II, she joined the Navy and moved to the East Coast to test ammunition. During her time in Washington, she met her husband who was working at the Pentagon, and they were married on December 7, 1945. In her Navy uniform, no white dress for her. She has spent most of her adult life in New Mexico, raising a family and enjoying all of the Southwest has to offer. Dale has her master's in art and continues to knit, weave, and sometimes paint. She's a grandma of 5 and a great-grandma, G-ma of 10. What a life to celebrate.
And if I have your attention over by the stairs, I'm Gold Digger of the Bombshells, and my grandma is Mary Dale Fairbanks here on the stairs, and it's her 98th birthday, and we all want to wish you a happy birthday. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, happy birthday!
Hey, who wants free stuff? Coming on around the track right now, there is Taylor Terror and Cryptic Callie. Callie's going to toss that one. There we go. Up into the top row, the back seats there. And let's go ahead and do our halftime raffle giveaway. Get those orange raffle tickets ready. Come on down here and pick from our table of goodies. Winning ticket for this drawing is going to be 785-511. 785-511. Come on down to the raffle table. It's over this way, yeah. Head for me and then stop before you get here. Your attention, please. All minor assaults in the building, please report to the locker room. All minor assaults in the building, please report to the locker room. All right, we are ready to get back to the action here momentarily. Don't forget, we've got more action tonight. The minor assaults coming up at the conclusion of this bout. Minor assaults blue versus white will be closing out our evening this evening. And don't forget, next week in Chingadera. Don't look now, but we're all about to be awake for 48 hours straight. Anyway, more on that later. It's food in my stomach.
Growls so ferociously now. We're on a whole nother level.
Setting up for our first jam of the third quarter, it's going to be Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers.
And Skid Vicious for your Bombshells. Starting with a full pack in the blocker box, 4-on-4. Victoria Van Gore able to break out of the pack there in turn one with Skid Vicious, a quarter of a track behind her.
And Victoria Van Gore quickly finishing off the scoring pass and calling it off. 4 quick points up on the board for the Coffin Draggers, who are going to send Bones to the jammer line.
Skate up G for the Bombshells. All my friends that are sitting in the audience right now, I would like to remind you, there is no whistling allowed. Please do not whistle from the audience at all whatsoever. It will confuse our referee team and will delay the game, so interrupt the game. Please do not whistle if you are in the audience. You may be removed from our warehouse. Thank you.
There goes Bones around the outside, and Bones is the lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers.
Skate up G. Attempting to play some defense, switching some roles there since they were unable to break out of the pack, but Bones trying to pick up some points here as well in turn 3.
And 5 seconds to go on the jam clock. Bones calls it off from the back of the pack.
Ooh, look who's on that jammer line, Reckless Rose from the Coffin Draggers.
It'll be Bitch Please to the jammer line for the Bombshells. Before we get to that action, though, there's going to be a stoppage in play, and it's an official timeout, so officials are going to check over some of the action in that previous jam and make sure everything is all set to go before we move forward. Looks like I believe I see multiple penalties on one skater there, perhaps.
Oh, the jammer. Bombshells jammer. And Happy. Who was that? Who was that was jamming? 13? 12 was. 13, 12 was both. 13, 12 was both of us. Okay, yeah. Okay, they count.
I think it's funny that the Draggers lost Tina, who is 10-12, and now they got Bones, who's like Tina-shaped, and she's 13-12. All right, so after official review, added to the board was a penalty on the jammer Bones. So that is going to lead to a power jam for the Bombshells. It's going to be Skid Vicious. Skid Vicious now up to the pack, trying to find her way through with some help from her blockers. Bombshells have one blocker in the penalty box as well. Skid Vicious now to the front of the pack, able to get a blocker knocked down, trying to get that last blocker pushed out of play, and able to get through and is clear of the pack. Coffin Draggers now uniting with a defensive front at the front of the pack. All four of their blockers out there. Skid Vicious trying to slide by on the inside and routed off onto the infield by Tyranny. 20 seconds to go in the Bombshells Power Jam.
Dixie, you better get out of here with those tortillas.
And that's going to do it for the Power Jam. 3 points picked up by Skid Vicious during the Power Jam. And the Bombshells are going to use their second half challenge here. There had been a back block penalty assessed to their jammer, and looks like they're going to try to challenge that penalty most likely. We'll wait for the official word from the infield once the regulators have finished their challenge review. We'd like to let you know about This Is Bliss Massage. They're transforming lives one treatment at a time, offering massage treatment in Tempe and mobile massage services specializing in Swedish, deep tissue, Reiki, and much more. Visit thisisblissmassage.com or call 480-406-1314 to schedule your appointment. Siphon Draw Apothecary features all natural, non-toxic, handcrafted skincare products made by our very own Dolly de los Muertos. Visit them at the Goldfield Ghost Town on historic Highway 88. And have you seen the amazing team signs in the warehouse? Above and Beyond Pallet Creations takes pallets and gives them a second life. For more information or to commission work, see Bobby Ross. You can also look up Above and Beyond Pallet Creations on Facebook. And after review from the infield, call stands. So the penalty will stand as called. Skid Vicious in the penalty box. That's going to lead to a power jam for the Coffin Draggers. Other penalties there on the board being assessed, so it looks like it's going to be a light pack. Now it looks like a full pack of blockers out there for the Coffin Draggers, just the two Bombshells in the penalty box. It's going to be Devil's Advocate out there to do the power jam for the Coffin Draggers. And Devil's Advocate to the inside and is out of the pack.
Here comes Devil's Advocate for first scoring pass. But the Bombshells are all split up. Draggers doing a great job of keeping them all split up. So Devil's Advocate's able to kind of go through that pack almost untouched. 30 seconds left as Devil's Advocate approaches for another scoring pass.
And Devil's Advocate finishing off a final scoring pass. 20 points on the board for Devil's Advocate during the Coffin Draggers Power Jam.
Reckless Rose taking that jammer line for your Coffin Draggers.
And it's going to be Skid Vicious for the Bombshells.
Looks like the Bombshells picked up some penalties in that last jam, so they're going to be down 2 blockers, 4 on 2 with Dragger the advantage.
Reckless Rose up to the outside, then angles down in front of the pack and is your lead jammer for the Coffin Draggers. And Reckless Rose finishing off a scoring pass along the inside, able to meet up with that pack, now trying to come around for a second scoring pass.
Rose unable to break past or through the pack, however, gets right back on, picks up those points, calls it, since Skid also was able to break free.
Nine points on the board for the Coffin Draggers. To the jammer line for the Draggers is Victoria Van Gore and Anakin Shittalker for the Bombshells. And called down from the jammer line is Victoria Van Gore. Penalty assessed to Reckless Rose in the previous jam is going to lead to a power jam for the Bombshells. Anakin Shittalker on the jammer line for the Bombshells, who have a full complement of blockers out there as well. But before we get to that, there's going to be a stoppage in play. And the Coffin Draggers are going to use their second half challenge now. So likely to challenge that power jam causing penalty that was assessed to their jammer. We will find out.
Skating out of bounds? When did she? The only time she was off the track was when she fell. She didn't fall for more than 20 feet though.
She got routed off onto the infield once, but I didn't think it was outlandishly I didn't think she was.
Yeah, no, I don't. When did it happen? Like, come on. Yeah, most of the time I'm like, why'd you give her?
And after review from the infield, call on the track stands. So the penalty will stand as called. It's a skating out of bounds penalty on Reckless Rose. So the penalty stands and the power jam for the Bombshells will take place as we return to the action here momentarily. I see both bench coaches heading back to the benches. All right, back to the action. Anakin Shittalker for the Bombshells to the jammer line. A full complement of blockers for the Bombshells. One blocker, one jammer in the penalty box for the Coffin Draggers.
All right, the whistle for the jam, and everybody takes off. Trying to keep this pack very fast. Draggers end up out in front. Bombshells trying to secure a goat in the back, but they are still very close to the front of the pack, so their jammer is still unable to break out. And out she goes in turn 4. Anakin Shittalker coming around for our first scoring pass.
Anakin racing by along the rail on a scoring pass. 20 seconds to go in the Bombshells power jam, and Anakin looking for some more now.
Still got time to pick up some more points here. Great job by Anakin Shit Talker securing some points for her team. Points for the Bombshells.
And an official timeout to make sure we've got everything cleared from the previous jam. I do see penalties on both sides, so they're going to make sure everything is straightened out and ready to go before we move on. Phoenix Motor Leathers is outside this evening. They're the premier motorcycle rider's dream shop for all your riding gear. We will get right back to that sponsor advertisement after the action ensues here. I promise. Tell you all about Phoenix Motor Leathers. Victoria Van Gore is to the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers. And it's Bitch Please for the Bombshells. And Bitch Please along the inside, able to get out of the pack and is your lead jammer for the Bombshells.
Gore is able to push those blockers out of play on the front end as Bitch Please approaches for her first scoring pass. The Panda-Face Killer delivering her to the infield as Gore approaches. Neither team able to pick up any points during that jam. However, Bitch Please did pick up a penalty during that last jam, so it's going to be a power jam for the Coffin Draggers.
Coffin Draggers jammer is going to be Tyranny. Tyranny up to the outside and able to burst quickly out of the pack and is your lead jammer for the Draggers. And Tyranny fights through the defense at the front of the pack from the Bombshells and finishes off a scoring pass now coming around for her second. Gets a block from Witchy Woman and able to race right through the pack. Five seconds to go on the jam clock. Tyranny looking to complete another scoring pass. Threads her way through and able to do so. That's going to do it for the power jam. And it's a 20-point power jam for Tyranny and the Coffin Draggers.
Wow.
Coffin Draggers up over 200 for the bout now.
All right. Hellatrix the Strange taking that jammer line for the Coffin Draggers.
And it's going to be Skid Vicious for the Bombshells.
Strange trying to go down the center as Skid runs out on the high. And she's out. Lead jammer for this jam. Strange still trying to break past that Bombshells defensive two-blocker set as Skid secures points with plenty of time for more.
Strange out of the pack and making her way around behind Skid Vicious. Skid Vicious now runs into a defensive wall at the back of the pack and calls off the jam. Strange comes in, slides, and she's safe at second.
Nice, Skid.
10 points up on the board for Skid Vicious there and the Bombshells in that jam. And it sounds like we're going to have a power jam indeed. There goes Bones, so it's going to be a power jam for the Bombshells. Bombshells looking to build on that previous output there with Skate Up G to the jammer line.
Draggers doing a very good job of keeping their wall very tight in the back of this pack and moving with the jammer. Skate Up G trying to push her way through those seams.
G takes a tumble now, looking for an opening. Just two blockers out there for assistance. And G to the front of the pack, runs into that defensive wall again. The Coffin Draggers have been playing stout power jam defense all night. Clock winding down as the pack makes their way down the front straightaway, and that's going to do it for the power jam. Excellent defensive effort by the Coffin Draggers. Up to the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers is going to be Victoria Van Gore.
And looks like Skid Vicious is taking that jammer line for the Bombshells. 4-on-4 in the blocker box. No penalties on either side in that last jam. Skid Vicious almost out of the pack, but Gore breaks out in turn one. Gore picking up those points. Skid Vicious still behind Dragger defense. Zora La Bruja playing some mean offense for our jammer.
And that'll do it for the jam. Gore calling it off as Skid had shaken free of the pack at the front. Now we're going to have a power jam for the Coffin Draggers. I do see, wait, not a power jam. Double jammer down, penalty added for the Coffin Draggers jammer. So it's going to be Bones for the Coffin Draggers. And for the Bombshells is going to be Skate Up G. So two jammers out there just as I was getting ready to get all cranked up for a power jam.
Bones taking that low fairly quickly, but then greeted by Irish Car Bomb and Dirty Carry on the low. Bones breaks out in turn two.
Bones now up into the pack and trying to find an opening on a scoring pass. Skate Up G still trying to get free for the first time.
And out they go. Bones getting a hit to the infield by Dirty Carry. Getting back on that track and calling the jam before G's able to pick up any points.
We'll get ready for what will be, at least most likely, becoming more likely literally by the second, that it'll be the last jam of the third quarter. Setting up on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers for the first time this evening, Witchy Woman. And Bitch Please for the Bombshells. And Witchy Woman along the inside, able to find an opening, out of the pack and clear for the Draggers. Witchy along the inside, finishing off a scoring pass. The quarter has come to a close. Bitch Please out of the pack on the front end. And Witchy Woman calling off the jam clock after finishing off her scoring pass. That is going to bring us up to the end of the third quarter. 9 points on the board for the Coffin Draggers. There takes their score to 227. Bombshells 45. And we'll step aside for our last quarter break of this first bout.
Before our last quarter begins, I did want to let everybody know that this is going to be your last quarter to purchase 50/50 raffle tickets. The 50/50 is currently sitting at $300. Now's your chance. The 50/50 raffle will be called at the end of this bout. So after fourth quarter, when this game ends, you'll be able to, we will be calling the 50/50 raffle. So please purchase your 50/50 raffle tickets now.
And now coming on around with some possible swag for the audience. I mean, it's definitely swag, but it's possibly for you. That's what I meant. I stumble with my words sometimes. It's some of our fresh meat skaters, not on skates right now, just wearing normal wheelless shoes. And there we have it, some lucky fans winning a few things. All right, get those orange raffle tickets ready once again for a trip through the prize garden down here. Your winning ticket is 785-522. 785-522. Come on down this way and make a trip through the raffle prizes and pick what winner you would like.
All right, going into our fourth and final quarter of the first bout of the night, your Bombshells against the Coffin Draggers with a score of 227. Your Coffin Draggers 45 Bombshells. This is your last quarter to purchase 50/50 raffle tickets. Skate Up G taking that jammer line for the Bombshells.
Reckless Rose up to the jammer line now for the Coffin Draggers.
Reckless Rose trying to deliver a hit on G there. Some jammer on jammer. Both jammers still in the pack. And out goes G. They are going to be the lead jammer for this jam. Reckless Rose half a track behind them. As G approaches for their first scoring pass, Bombshells trying to play some offense to pick up some points for their team. Skate Up G scoops up some points and calls the jam. Wow, all right. Looks like G was able to pick up 4 points for that jam for the Bombshells.
4 points on the board for the Coffin Draggers as well. So 4 points for both teams on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers, Victoria Van Gore. Jamming for the Bombshells is Bitch Please.
Gore breaking out here between turn 1 and 2, but Bitch Please is only a quarter of the track behind her.
And
Gore calling off the jam, so just in case.
so no points for either side. Up to the jammer line for the Bombshells is Anakin. And on the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers is Bones.
Bones taking the jammer line for the Draggers. All right.
Anakin up to the outside, looking for an opening, runs into a couple of blockers and the guardrail. Tried to get him pushed out of play, but the pack kind of caught up there and ran into that plan. So Anakin now is held to the back by those defenders for the Coffin Draggers.
Remy Ruckus taking Bones to the infield. Neither jammer's out of the pack yet. But Bones is able to push those two Bombshell blockers out of play on the front side.
Wait, Anakin's lead jammer. Yes or no? Is neither one of them lead jammer?
Apparently.
Who is lead jammer? Okay.
Just a few seconds left to go on the jam clock. Both jammers kind of caught up in the pack there. Bones having made a full circuit and waiting to come through on a scoring pass. And puts 5 points on the board for the Coffin Draggers, does Bones.
The Panda Face Killer taking the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers.
Jamming for the Bombshells is going to be Dirty Carry.
Panda trying to break out on that low, but Bitch Please is not letting her out. But out goes Dirty Carry. She's the lead jammer for this jam. Dirty Carry coming up to pick up some points for the Bombshells. Is able to scoop past those blockers on the low side and calls that jam.
Gets through and calls it off with Panda having shaken free and coming around with a full head of steam. 4 points up on the board for the Bombshells. Puts them up over 50 for the bout. And Victoria Van Gore skating down off the track as a penalty was assessed to Panda in the previous jam. So it's going to be a power jam for the Bombshells. Skate Up G on the jammer line.
I also see penalties called on two blockers, so I believe they will also be skating very light.
Big numbers advantage for the Bombshells here, and taking over as jammer is Anakin Shit-Talker.
Let's see how many points Anakin can pick up for the Bombshells. Anakin Shit-Talker able to run right out on that high.
Anakin now locked in a one-on-one battle with Tyranny, trying to get clear. Tyranny using that rail to her advantage.
Draggers doing a great job of keeping this pack very fast and controlling using that split pack accordion technique. Seven seconds left on the clock. Anakin getting back up off the infield and calling that jam.
4 points up on the board for Anakin during that power jam. Coming to the jammer line for the Draggers is going to be Victoria Van Gore.
Dirty carry for the Bombshells.
And I do see a star pass taking place, or not taking place, perhaps. That's part of the intrigue of it all.
Dirty carry able to break past Draggers defense. She's the lead jammer for this jam. Hannibal Lecter taking that jammer to the infield. Gore able to break past as Carey comes in for some points and calls that jam.
Two points up on the board for the Bombshells there. They're going to send Skate Up G to the jammer line. Jamming for the Coffin Draggers for the first time this evening, Zora La Bruja.
Zora La Bruja delivering a hit to Skate Up G right off the get-go. Skate Up G bounces back though, and they're out. Got ourselves a star pass. Devil's Advocate will be the lead jammer on the Draggers as soon as she can put that star on her helmet. There we go. G about a quarter of a track behind her. Devil's Advocate securing a couple of points, but calling off that jam before G is able to get any points for the Bombshells.
Oh, she got an arms though. Devil's Advocate.
We're going to have a power jam for the Bombshells here as we head to 7 minutes to go. Anakin Shit-Talker on the jammer line for the Bombshells. Now let's hear it from the Bombshells fans in the house. Still here to support their team, who's still fighting out there as we get towards the later stages of this game. Anakin Shit-Talker looking for an opening, trying to get clear here during the power jam. An arms penalty was assessed to Devil's Advocate in the previous jam, which led to the current power jam situation. Tries to sneak by along the inside, but Tyranny is equal to the task and knocks her off to the infield. Ten seconds left on the power jam clock. Anakin still fighting through, trying to get past the defenders. And that'll do it as the clock expires on the Power Jam. Another stout defensive effort by the Coffin Draggers.
Each team picking up a penalty during that last jam, so they're going to be down a blocker each. 3-on-3 in that blocker box. Helitrix the Strange taking that jammer line for the Draggers.
It'll be skate up G for the Bombshells.
Looks like G is playing a little bit of defense, but Strange breaking out of that pack. Coming around for their first scoring pass as G tries to fight their way past that two-blocker defense on the front side. And up comes Strange to pick up some points for the Draggers. Almost able to get past that last blocker, but Happy Kilmore delivering Strange to the infield. Looks like G switched back to defense as Strange is able to get past Happy Kilmore on the low. 7 seconds left on that clock. Strange calls off the jam instead. Looks like they picked up an arms penalty during that last jam, though, so it's going to be a power jam for the Bombshells.
Skid Vicious this time to the jammer line for the Bombshells to make a go at it here in the Power Jam. Routed off to the infield by the defense. Skid Vicious now trying to get by along the outside, trying to use the rail for leverage. Now spins down, tries to get by Panda, and Panda delivers a blow, knocking her back to the infield one more time. Now Skid able to outrun a defender to the corner with a helpful block there from Anakin Shit-Talker. Skid now out. Bombshells now trying to get their Power Jam offense together and separate the pack, which they have done. Skid Vicious able to run by along the inside and finish off a scoring pass. Gonna try to get back around one more time, but looks like she's just gonna run out of time indeed. Just about 4 or 5 seconds away from being able to score some more points there, but Skid Vicious is gonna put at least some points on the board. We'll wait for the there it is, 5 points on the board for Skid Vicious there during the Power Jam.
Bones taking the jammer line for the Draggers. Skate up G for the Bombshells. Got 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock of this bout. Don't forget to buy your 50-50 raffle tickets. This is your last chance.
And we've had a star pass. Taking over as jammer for the Coffin Draggers is going to be Devil's Advocate, trying to outrun Skate Up G back to the pack. Devil's Advocate racing in, runs through the pack, calls off the jam. And Devil's Advocate does it perfectly. 4 points for the Coffin Draggers, none for the Bombshells.
Bitch, please, taking that jammer line for the Bombshells.
And it's Victoria Van Gore for the Coffin Draggers. Bitch Please quickly to the inside and able to get out of the pack. Lead jammer for the Bombshells. Victoria Van Gore also out as well, and it's going to put on the pressure now. Bitch Please quickly through the pack, gets her points and calls it off.
Very well executed. Anakin Shit-Talker taking that jammer line for the Bombshells.
On the jammer line for the Coffin Draggers is Tyranny.
Four on three with the Dragger advantage in the blocker box. Devil's Advocate securing that star pass for the Draggers. She's the active jammer for your Draggers. Anakin still fighting on the front end. That strong Dragger defense. Devil's Advocate able to deflect some of those hits and secure those points as well.
.20 seconds left on the jam clock. Devil's Advocate now mid-scoring pass. Big collision at the back of the pack. Several skaters taking a tumble, but Devil's Advocate able to fight her way through. And Devil's Advocate finishing off another scoring pass, and that's going to do it for that jam. We will line up for the last jam of regulation. We'll have to wait and find out what happens with possible penalty jams after regulation, but this should be the last one of regulation. And on the jammer line for the first time for the Coffin Draggers tonight is Zombaby.
Dirty Carry taking that jammer line for your Bombshells. Lots of penalties on the Draggers side. Witchy's going to be a must skate. 2 blockers. And out goes Carrie as your lead jammer with Zombaby half a track behind her.
Dirty Carry trying to race by along the inside and knock to the infield.
Zombaby stealing lead and calling out that jam.
Clock has expired, and we will wait and check. Both teams picking up 4 points there in that last jam. We'll wait and check with the infield on possible penalties and find out if that was the last jam of the game or not. All right, after review of penalties, stepping out to make the official call with that whistle from head referee, Ref Boyardee. The winning team is the Coffin Draggers. Your final score, 266-72.
Madness. Morning Madness. Make your way on over to the announcer's booth, please. We're going to be calling our 50-50 raffle shortly. Please stay tuned. Also, we're going to do a 30-minute intermission between these bouts. Our minor assaults are going to take the track next. Going to give them each side 15 minutes to warm up, and then we'll be back.